Hello, I'm PhocusWire Editor-in-Chief Mitra Sorrells, and I am joined by Joe Youssef. He is Executive Vice President of Business Intelligence and Data Solutions for Amadeus Hospitality. Joe, welcome.
Thank you, Mitra. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to see you. I know, let's start by talking about the fact that you've been with Amadeus for many years. I think 2006 is what I saw. What are some of the biggest changes or developments that you have seen over the course of those years?
Oh my God, it's been a journey. What a journey it has been for the past almost 16 years now, working and moving around 4 different continents with different business units and just witnessing the rise of new segments in our business. Like, historically, we've been very focused on the distribution business and the airlines technology business, but like joining the hospitality business about almost 9 years ago now, since inception really, and being one of the founding members with our current president, Paco, has been such a rewarding experience overall, and seeing how we can create a business really from scratch and becoming one of the top technology players in hospitality today. It's just been a phenomenal journey.
Can you maybe just even touch a bit more on that as far as that journey of development, kind of building that up and where you are now?
Well, I think we're in a very, very unique position right now as Amadeus, where we kind of have a very unique platform that brings over different components of technology capabilities. And when you think of the industry, historically, it's been very fragmented all along. And what we're doing differently is that we're bringing different capabilities in a single unified platform that addresses most of the pain points for hoteliers and our customers, really. And that is unique.
Okay. So let's talk, certainly when we think about pain points, we have to talk about these last couple of years. There's been tremendous change and shock waves across every aspect of the travel industry. What stands out in your mind as some of the most pronounced impacts from the last couple of years, the ones that will really stick?
For sure. I think 2 things come to mind. The first one is the rise of what I call new demographics of travelers. We've all heard about different terminologies like be-leisure and workations, and really all stems from the same root cause, which is the ability of digital nomads and ability or companies giving the ability to work, forces basically work from anywhere. We've seen that in our own workforce in Amadeus, where we're allowing people to work remotely most of the time or work from anywhere in many cases as well. So that new trend of traveler has definitely changed a lot than what we are used to. Obviously, the second key important behavior that we've seen is the change of booking behavior. And that comes from both a channel mix perspective and from the bookings lead time behavior perspective. We've seen significant changes that we've never seen in the past. If you look at what we've seen through the past 2.5 years almost, for many months, we've seen lead time for bookings arriving from 0 to 7 days, almost reaching 70% of overall bookings, with 50% of bookings of arrivals at the same day. Imagine that. That's something that we've never seen before. So these kind of trends are significant to the industry. It impacts how hoteliers can respond to the volatile demand and how they can organize staffing as well. So these are all very significant implications to the industry overall. And technology has a great role to play in resolving and helping our customers overcome some of these challenges, of course.
Let's talk a bit about the role of technology. But before we get into that, I'm just curious, do you see both of those trends that you mentioned? So the kind of the workcation, the digital nomad piece, and then also the changes in the booking lead time and channels. Do you see both of those sticking around?
I think they are. Some changes are here to stay, and definitely the new behavior of bookings are here to stay. And I think when I say here to stay, it's really the fluctuation of these behaviors. We have to be able to adapt to very rapid changes in demand and our offering, and that's here to stay.
Okay. So now let's talk about what advice are you sharing then with hoteliers on how they should be adapting and reacting to some of these new trends?
Yeah, I think the key lesson for us here is that hoteliers need to be able to adapt their business swiftly in response to the volatility of demand, right? And they have to be able to plan and respond as well. And I think they need to consider a holistic approach of data inclusion, understanding their business holistically. In the past, I think there's been always silos between sales, marketing, people responsible for loyalty programs and revenue management, right? And I think we have to look at all these operations in an encompassing way where they look at the business overall and look at the market trends overall, and not just like how is my hotel performing, but how am I performing versus the entire market? Am I ahead of the market? Am I behind the market? Why? Which segments? Which channels? Can I change my revenue optimization strategies? These are all things that they need to consider significantly differently as they optimize for revenue.
And what is the role then of technology to help facilitate some of that? Because that certainly sounds fairly complex, what you're describing there.
Well, I think I like to think it that way. I believe that historical trends are greatly misaligned with the current recovery patterns that we're seeing. And when I say that, Amadeus is in a very unique position as a technology provider because we have our pulse or our hands on the pulse of forward-looking signals. And when we think of forward-looking signals, we're looking at combined metrics or insights from airlines business that we have and from the hotels business and hospitality businesses that we have, right? So metrics like search, capacity, traffic, these are all very significant forward-looking metrics, apart from bookings, of course, that we are looking at and combining those with our hotel metrics or KPIs like occupancy and ADR and pickup pace, so that we can provide our customers with the right insights that are forward-looking. Because as I said, looking at the past is not really aligned well with what's going to happen in the future. So we're looking at the future more importantly than just like historical behavior. And I think that's key. That is key for any technology provider to be able to provide their customers with the recipe and the ingredients for success.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And then also, I guess that piece that you touched on about really integrating some of those systems and using the data across systems to have it provide you better intelligence.
Exactly. And I think, again, that falls in the hands of technology providers and how they interact together across the ecosystem. I believe historically there's been a significant amount of friction across the industry. And as technology providers, we need to overcome friction points by working together, collaborating, enable exchange of information between different applications and different systems for the benefit of our customers, obviously.
Does this also then require some change about the way just their teams and their staffing interact across an organization?
100%. I think the way that hotels in the past worked, where there was significant verticals and silos between revenue management, sales, marketing, I think that's kind of the past. And in the future, they're looking at their businesses holistically in collaboration of these departments and having an overarching view of what the industry trends or insights are telling them so that they can optimize for their revenue strategies holistically.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, certainly, actually, it's occurring to me that also kind of ties into some of the challenges we know hoteliers are facing related to staffing. I mean, certainly any industry is facing challenges related to staffing, but a more integrated approach, I would assume, helps some of that as well.
100%. And I think when we talk about staffing shortages, and it's, I think, the biggest challenge that all hoteliers are facing right now. I believe it was a report published by the World Travel and Tourism Organization, where they've cited some 33% of those in the workforce of hospitality and left during the pandemic do not intend to come back. So that's a significant shortage in the amount of talent that we have. From a technology perspective, I also believe that we have a great role to play here when it comes to simplifying our user experiences and making sure that the newcomers to the industry are able to adopt and train to the new technologies and applications very, very swiftly because of the high turnover and the newer generation of workforce that is coming into play.
Yeah, very interesting. So let's talk a bit about then, just back to this idea of the travelers of today and their expectations. What other advice or ideas might you have for hoteliers on how to optimize their businesses to address some of those preferences?
Well, we just talked about the digital nomads, and I think the combination of behavior of work with vacations and combining these two capabilities requires a whole different approach to the offering. I think we've been pioneers in Amadeus talking and actually implementing, not just talking, but implementing what we call attribute-based selling, which is breaking down the experience of a traveler or a hotelier into different micro components where they can package it based on the needs and the preferences of different guests. And it's not all one size fits all anymore. So, and I think there's great learnings to have or to be had from the airlines industry. When I look at 2021 in the airlines business, and to just draw a parallel here, airlines had about $65 billion in ancillary revenues in 2021. That's about $27 uplift per passenger. Imagine applying a 15% uplift on ADR for hospitality. What would that look like? So there's significant opportunity to improve revenue optimization in hotels if we just take the parallels from what the airlines have done, breaking down the experience into micro components. And we are pioneering that in Amadeus with our attribute-based capabilities.
Yeah, I know you're working with IHG and Marriott, correct, on some of those solutions. I'm curious what you think. I mean, is that the inevitable evolution of retailing and hospitality, and what is that roadmap?
I think you asked me before, like what is here to stay, and I think one of the things that are here to stay is attribute-based selling for sure, and breaking that experience into micro moments and micro capabilities that the hotels can monetize and offer their guests at different levels. So I think that's one of the changes that are here to stay for sure. Another thing that is here to stay is when we talk about hybrid meetings and events, for instance. Hybrid meetings and events are here to stay. These are all changes that happened through the past 2.5 years, and I think they are going to continue with us, and we have to adapt the overall technology offering and overall offering from hotels as well to meet these needs.
Okay. Anything else as we get ready to wrap up? I'm just wondering, anything else that comes to mind when you think about some of the biggest opportunities for hoteliers, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. Well, I think in the short term, we have to think of the rapid changes that we're seeing in segment mix, channel mix, and traveler expectations, which will all necessitate new outreach strategies and new revenue management strategies for hotels. And they just need to leverage that capability and not go, unnoticed. From an advice, I think I would say trying to solve for new problems that we're facing collectively as an industry and technology providers with old solutions and old technology is simply not going to work. We need to understand the customers and behaviors better. We need to recognize that the industry is moving forward and it's not going to stay the same as we knew it before. We talked about hybrid meetings changing. We talked about attribute-based selling. And we talked also about a holistic approach towards data and not looking at the past trends, but really looking at forward-looking trends and embracing that forward-looking view of insights beyond my hotel and looking at market level insights and industry insights. I think that will be critical in moving forward and optimizing revenue for hoteliers.
Yeah, it sounds like there's some great opportunities there for those that are willing to, think about things in a new way and operate a little bit smarter.
100%. I think about it very positively. I think all the pressures that we've been through collectively as an industry have made us better in the way that we are offering our capabilities and how to solve for meeting industry needs and meeting the travelers' expectations and guest stays as well.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Joe Youssef from Amadeus Hospitality, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Mitra. Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye.